WION World of Cricket. I am Isha Hanspal. England versus Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka won the match by 8 wickets with 146 balls remaining. It was a do-or-die for both the teams, and these are the results. We also made another new record here today. Dav, guess what that is?
England losing for the 8th time?
Absolutely, and also the quickest that the day's proceedings have gotten over.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like the quickest finish to a match that we've had in all the games that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
We were expecting this result, Dav?
No, I have to say, look, I'm sure there was a lot of people out there that are still trying to figure out, shaking their head. After 5 games, you have the mighty England team, who are the defending champions, having 1 win against their name. This game was a game of no return. And sadly, England now face a horrible time in the next 4 games, knowing that they're not going to be able to make the semi-final.
A quick word on Nissanka and Samara Wickrama, who were amid the runs here. One assumed that even it will be difficult for Sri Lanka to pile up those runs after what we saw of England innings, like we spoke in the mid-innings. But it looks like these two gentlemen had their path sorted out pretty clearly.
Yeah, that's right. I guess when you're chasing a score, you know what the total is. It's a little bit easier, but nevertheless, there were a little bit of scary moments. So Sri Lanka lost a couple of early wickets. But seriously, this Nissanka and Samara Wickrama, who looks to be, a really good prospect for the Sri Lankan team, batted beautifully and pounced on anything loose, respected the good balls, and made light work of it in the end. It wasn't just a victory; it was an absolute thumping victory.
A word more importantly on what happened in England's in the second innings with England here. We already spoke about the first innings. Yeah. What happened here?
Well, when you've only got so many runs on the board, when you walk out to defend that total, in the back of your mind that, a couple of bad overs, or if you're not picking up wickets, the score inches towards that target. And the reality is, from the human perspective, that you can't help it, that you do, drop your bundle a little bit, and it's a futile effort. You try hard, you barrack for your bowlers, and you try and G up and get the torque up. But the result is inevitable unless you get those early wickets. The only way England were going to win this game...
They did get 1 wicket early on, though.
They did. The only way they're going to win this game is to get 10 wickets. It's never going to happen.
England's campaign effectively over for the top 4?
That's right. There's 4 games left, and they've won 1. So, if we're saying you need to win 6 as a benchmark, it's physically impossible for that to happen.
Because there are other teams that are coming into form. Sri Lanka, for one. Sri Lanka can go ahead and win their remaining matches. If we can just take a look at the fixtures of both the teams we have lined up ahead. England have 4 games remaining. As you mentioned earlier on, I'm just trying to get the fixtures in.
Everyone's got 4 games left.
Both the teams here. Yeah. All teams now have 4 games left. England's campaign looks like it's effectively over. What about Sri Lanka?
Sri Lanka's alive still.
Still chances, yeah.
They're alive. So they'll be very happy with today. They can confidently go and plan now for the next game to try and win that one and continue to win. They need to keep accumulating points. So you can't be resting on your laurels. Enjoy the moment today, no problem, because you've earned it. You played well. But come tomorrow, let's get back on that horse and start to prepare as well as you can for the next game.
I think after the passage of another innings, it's probably a better time to really discuss what's going wrong with England. It has shocked viewers all over, shocked viewers and fans, England team fans and otherwise as well. What do you think is going wrong? We at least expected them to put up some fight in the second innings there. Yeah,
well, look, we all agreed that today was the correct decision to make in terms of their selection. Gives them a longer and batting order with depth, which didn't compromise their bowling too much. They won the toss on a really nice afternoon, decided correctly to bat first, but did not quite understand what the pass score on that pitch was. Everyone had their opinions, and most of us would be saying the same thing. It's a high 200s, 280, 290, 300. So that was something that would have been on their mind when they first started to bat, because even so, they started like that. They in the first 5 overs, I think, they were 30-odd runs.
Yeah.
Milan was whacking nicely, and Bairstow also was going nicely. But then as soon as the wicket fell, and Sri Lanka then began to direct their deliveries better in the correct area, and then the ball gets a little bit softer. It wasn't coming onto the bat as what the new ball did, and because the surface wasn't as fast, once that shine goes off that new white ball, it sort of stops a little bit when it comes on.
Right.
So you need to be a little careful of playing strokes that you would normally play if it was just nicely coming on, a normal Chinnaswamy wicket. But it wasn't today, and it just needed to readjust, refocus, and just work out, that the total on that pitch, 250, 260. If you looked at 250, maybe you can get 270. If you're looking at 300, you're only going to get a low score. So risks were taken, bad shots were played, 2 bad run-outs. That doesn't help for a total that you think you can protect.
I think we touched upon this in the mid-innings show as well.
Yep.
What about the brand of play that England is following? Doesn't seem to be working anymore. What change needs to be made over there?
Yeah, they pride themselves in recent times of being attacking, putting the pressure right back up on the opposition. They play their best cricket when we attack early and, pressure on the opposition. But it hasn't worked out for them. The first few games, they did chased runs, and it wasn't the right decision when it was really hot in certain venues. They kept losing wickets. Today was no different, but for other reasons. Failing to understand the conditions and play accordingly. So yes, selection maybe in the 11. They made 3 changes the game before, then reverted back another 3 selection changes for this game. It doesn't make for continuity, as you would expect. Sadly, the morale and the confidence within that group was lacking. And, after a little while, I mean, they start the game full of intent, right? Every game, we're going to win. We're going to play to win. As soon as 1 or 2 things happen against them, then you just see the bundle dropping.
It's a sense of mental fatigue as well creeping in. Mental fatigue.
Yeah, when you're losing a bit, I guess that tends to
be the case.
Increase, always on your mind. What happens if we lose the next one? This is England. We're England. We're the defending champions. How can this happen? It's lots of different thoughts come in your mind which prevent you from, trying to achieve what everyone wants you to achieve, and that's success.
What happened to Ben Stokes there? He got out of retirement, played the World Cup. A word on him, perhaps? Yeah,
it was sad, I guess. I mean, the expectations on Stokes. Everyone was thinking, we've got Ben Stokes in the team now, and that'll be makes us even stronger. And I think so. I think also it does. But it doesn't. It takes more than one man to win games. There are times when he'll do something absolutely spectacular and they'll win. But in these conditions, Isha, it takes a number of boys in the team to do well for the team to win. So it's a little unfair to point the finger at him. He tried hard today, and he's a very attacking, aggressive attitude. But even he found it difficult to time the ball, no matter how hard he tried. A lot of times he mishit it because the ball wasn't coming on to the bat. So maybe he also, if he had his time again, would understand, look, I'll just be content with one instead of going for the big shots all the time. But he tried, and he was a high scorer for his team, 43 runs and 73 balls. Unusual, 58.9% strike rate. So.
Okay, if we can just pull up the points table now. In retrospect, would you now think about the upset that Afghanistan caused and how they are now placed on the points table?
Yeah.
They're number 7?
Afghanistan... Again, upset. I'm not sure upset's the right word, you know, because I do fancy them to be competitive.
Potential, yeah.
Yeah, you know, as I've said before, this team has got some good youngsters there. They're just lacking a little bit more of the pace bowling, but they've got most of the bases covered, you know, and this is going to be a team that will improve as time goes on. They may not get into the semi-finals, but I tell you, you know, what I've seen so far, I think they can be very confident in the next couple of years. So they keep that group together. They're going to be super competitive. So yeah, they've done a really good job. Netherlands has only won one game, but they've really impressed on a number of games, except for that one. Their last performance against Australia was not that great, but everything else was pretty good, and they won a game as well.
I don't know how much today's match was a marker, but do you see Sri Lanka threatening Australia for the fourth spot?
Well, let's wait one more game. If they win that one, let's go for another game. We will be more.
It is a bit of a wait and watch for Sri Lanka.
Yeah, a little bit.
About Australia, we're a little more confident now.
Oh yes, we've seen them win 2 in a row now, and their momentum is really rising.
Almost completely changed.
Yeah, you know, because that Zampa boy is really bowling on the spot. It was Netherlands. They still got to reproduce that form in a couple of big fixtures coming up, but at least their confidence is up. There's some batters in form, and they're expecting to do well, which is a good thing.
Who are the strongest contenders for the fourth spot should Australia be displaced? Let's consider they are getting displaced between Sri Lanka and Pakistan on current form.
Well, Pakistan beat Sri Lanka, so they'll say, "Oh, we should be," you know. But
You've coached for the teams.
Yeah, it's whoever can muster up some points now, you know, in the next game. So we can have an opinion now, but I think we also reserve the right to see what the results are, you know, in the next round, and that'll give you more of a ammunition to make.
You're allowed to change your opinion anytime, Dav. We're just trying to play the guess game here. So if you were to pick one,
I think Sri Lanka. If you're asking
over
those
Pakistan,
two, I think at the moment Sri Lanka for sure
are a bigger threat to Australia than Pakistan.
I think so. Yeah, but Pakistan's got some issues that they really need to sort out, you know, and Sri Lanka, I think, have got a slightly better team.
Talking about England's strategy going forward, you said there were some areas where they needed to work on, areas where they needed to rethink. What do you have to say about an aging squad, rather? There is a lot of talk around it. Where does and how does that issue get resolved, or do you think that is a concern, or do you think that is not a concern at all?
If you're using the word ageing, they'd use the word experienced.
Absolutely.
Well, they have got a good experienced team. And you would like.
But then critics do talk about their age as well.
Yeah. Oh, shit, absolutely. That team, whilst is experienced and a little older than perhaps others, you'd expect that to understand and make better decisions. But that's not the case, is it? So sadly, I think that you'll find that the next 4-year cycle there will be changes.
Yeah.
Albeit there's another World Cup next year, but it's a T20 format. Some of those boys will be in that as well. But generally speaking, after a 4-year cycle, most teams will sit down and have a good review and start to formulate another group of boys over time, not straight away, that will be strong enough to challenge for a cup in 4 years' time.
And that perhaps also changes their attacking style of play depending on the talent that they have managed to get.
Oh, well, it can be. They at the moment are fostering this bloody.
Is that working though? Is that working?
Well, it is working.
Or are they even attacking?
These conditions difficult, but on certain wickets, if you look at in Delhi, Chinnaswamy normally is very good. Mumbai are also very good, but everything comes back to the surface. It's related to how good that is. Will determine whether you're able to take calculated risk and get a 400 or 380. other surfaces, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to, score those weight of runs just because you're playing in the same ground. Pitches are different; they're not giving the same pitch. So you've got to be smart and to understand and be adaptable, adjust to what you're facing.
Right. What about getting in more specialist players? There's a lot of talk around that as well. Perhaps reduce the number of all-rounders, getting more specialist players. Do you think that sort of a change is something that will help them?
No. I think any team that's got all-rounders, good all-rounders in it, has a huge advantage. Look at Bangladesh.
Yep.
Okay, they've only won one, but the two of their main spinners bat in the first 4 or 5.
Yep.
Brilliant. I don't think...
So you think that works?
Yes. Absolutely. It doesn't mean that they're going to win every game, but it allows the team to be flexible in the way in which they want to select, your specialists. So you need all-rounders. Look at India. India, one genuine all-rounder.
Yeah.
When he's injured with his ankle, oh my goodness, we can't replace him. So how valuable is that? It speaks loudly to me that people are talking correctly in that way. So if you've got 2 or 3, like England's got almost like probably even 4 if you stick Sam Curran in there. It's a wonderful advantage. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win either.
Yeah.
Specialists doesn't mean you're going to win either.
Yeah.
What matters is doing it on the day.
Does that somehow take away from the concentration of excelling in a particular thing? Or do you think having an all-rounder's skill is something that always, on most occasions, helps the team?
Yeah, on all occasions. On all occasions. There will always be a necessity to have some specialists. So, you've got a specialist in Mohammad Shami.
Yeah.
Didn't play the first few games, What a player. He came in because of an injury that unfortunately happened. And he gets 5 wickets. Now it's going to be a real dilemma in the next Indian match to see what the selection is, right? So specialists, there will always be a room for specialists, but having all-rounders gives you the opportunity to be very flexible and gives you very good depth, and more times than not you'll win with that.
It's somehow not worked for England, though.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, they're world champions with some of those guys, in different conditions.
Yeah. Okay, Dav, let's go across some comments that we've got after that match that we saw on No More with What More. Okay, one of our viewers has reiterated those numbers. All of Sri Lanka's wins in the World Cups against England. 2007, Sri Lanka won by 2 runs. 2011, Sri Lanka won by 10 wickets. 2015, Sri Lanka won by 9 wickets. Sri Lanka won by 20 runs in 2019, and 2023, Sri Lanka won by 8 wickets. Thank you, Ayushman, for reiterating those numbers for us. And one hopes that today would be a different result. One did not think for their spotless record to be continued. Sri Lanka's?
I think most people would have thought, high time England started to win, with that team, and especially at Chinnaswamy. The wicket's different.
Okay, Shiva says, can't remember the last time I was so happy watching one of our matches. Impressive bowling, fielding and batting today. Well-deserved win for Sri Lanka, and hopefully a little more morale booster for the other matches ahead.
Yes, Isha, a lot of very passionate Sri Lankan supporters. It's a perfect timeline for them too, time zone. So they watch it all.
Watch all the matches.
They're very critical when they do badly, but they also love the team when they do well. Very passionate. So at least they've given the team today, gave them something to be very happy about.
Absolutely. Okay, Sumit says, world champions are on the verge of elimination.
They are.
Yeah, they are. Sumit, you're right there. They've commenced. India, New Zealand and South Africa play high-quality cricket. Australia also peaking towards their very best. Meanwhile, Pakistan, England playing rubbish cricket. Even Afghanistan and Netherlands playing more competitive cricket than Pakistan and England. Would you agree? Would you say that Netherlands and Afghanistan?
Well, no, Netherlands has won one game, and they've been a little competitive.
More competitive cricket than Pakistan and England.
Inventive.
More competitive.
Competitive.
Yeah.
Oh no! Look, Pakistan, whatever it is, has won 2 games, right? They've not done well in the last 3, so they've gone up and they've come down a little bit. Netherlands, is using this tournament as a lot of experience for their young guys going forward. I'm very excited for them too, just quietly. But I think a bit unfair to say that Pakistan. They've still got some good players, but they've got a few issues they need to sort out.
Netherlands, I read somewhere, or I heard an interview wherein one of the players said that they likened themselves to what New Zealand used to be 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And wherein they just wanted to set themselves up on the international stage and look at New Zealand now. And they strongly believe that Netherlands is on the same track. And do you see similarity between the two teams?
I certainly hope so. One of the similarities, of course, is very small population. Sadly, that's almost where it ends, because domestic cricket is very important to a good, vibrant domestic cricket is reflective of your senior team. So, if they can seriously...
Something we see a lot of in India.
Yeah, India, that's one of the reasons they've grown up. And I've coached here for 5, 10, 6 years, and I can tell you that the domestic tournaments have steadily improved. It's been a lot of good players running around playing 3 formats. That's wonderful to see, and that's pushed the all the standards up. And there's a lot of boys knocking on the door, and you've heard a lot of experts say, hey, India can field 2 teams and still be competitive.
Yeah.
So there you are. So domestic cricket is very important, and yes, I do agree to a point that where New Zealand was quite some years ago, but they've got to jazz up that domestic cricket to ensure that they have a bit of a pipeline coming through.
New Zealand had more of domestic cricket than Netherlands, one would assume.
Yeah, They have 2 islands, north and south, and they play 4-day cricket, they play 1-day cricket, they play T20 cricket. They have a vibrant competition going, and it's produced some really good players of late. The latest product is Rachin Ravindra.
Yeah.
Beautiful player, young kid that's come through the ranks and performed, so he gets selected. Netherlands have to try and emulate that.
Okay, next one is from Vishwa, who says, a brilliant victory for Sri Lanka. They beat England by 8 wickets. Second victory in the World Cup 2023 campaign, while England lost its 4th match, as we would have it.
Statement of fact, right?
Sorry?
That was a statement of fact.
Yeah, it was a statement of fact.
Correct.
All right, Vishwa, we now go over to Vivek, who says, I don't think I'll ever understand Lahiru Kumara. When he gets it together like today, he can be an absolute monster. But too many games, his lines and lengths can be so wayward. Hope he stays more consistent. Yeah,
that's the word I was looking, that C word.
Yeah.
For his case, it's consistency. No one's questioning his ability to bowl speed, good speed, and he's got the ability to, when he lands it, he gets a little bit of movement. He's got an effective short ball. That's very good. But consistency in directing where to land the ball is important. That Mark Wood's quicker than him, but he gets hammered. Harris Rofe as well, Rofe, he gets hit around as well. Why? Because not able to land it in an area which makes it hard for the batsman. All very good to having speed. Nobody likes to face the speed, but when it's coming a little bit short and wide, it opens up a big scoring area.
Okay. Vivek Dav agrees with you. The next one comes in from Rajan, who asks, I just saw England walking out of World Cup 2023. Do you think they will react with vengeance as a reaction to resurrect their pride?
Maybe party spoilers? I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be playing.
Now is the season for party spoilers. The remaining 4 rounds, you'd say.
Yeah, well, when the weather's getting cooler slowly, wedding season coming, parties. They could be spoiling the party of a few other teams. There's 4 games to go.
Yeah. Effectively,
they're not going to figure in the semi. Let's see how many parties they can spoil. I mean, seriously, I'd be a little worried.
Okay, as long as it makes for interesting cricket to watch.
Yes, but if you're attached to the team they're playing against...
Yeah. Okay, Heyman says, England batting and bowling fails. There is no slow and steady batsman except Root. They did not adopt two conditions. Pacers missing line and length control. Without pacers, help spinners' performance also down. Wickets in power play and regularly is problem for England.
Well, when you're trying to protect that total, it's a slow death. You know that. Unless you're getting in that power play overs, you're getting 3 or 4 wickets, and you're continuing regularly to take wickets. It's a slow death.
Yeah.
And as I said, the human part of it, the human side of it, is that it's really hard when you look at the scoreboard, and the run column keeps going up, and there's nothing happening with the wickets column. It's really hard, you drop your head a little bit because you know what the result's going to be. Not easy.
Okay, Satish has a suggestion here, Dav. If we give enough practice to bowlers, then it will help them. Why not doing this practice session?
Bowlers?
Yeah, do you think that's where the problem was?
Well, in a long tournament like this, I can understand that question. Long tournaments like this, you got to be up for the contest every game.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got 3 days, sometimes you got 4 days, sometimes you got a week.
The prep happens before.
Yeah. So you got to carefully prepare, and a lot of that stuff will be done individually too. Some like to really train, a number of days. Others will do only a little bit. But ensure that they're ready for competition, and that's basically it. When it comes game day, you got to be ready for giving your 100%, and players will do it differently. So, but the bottom line is, no point getting prepared to fantastic performance on practice day. It's a build-up, it's a preparation for game day, so that can change. And bowlers generally got to be a little careful. The ones who are playing in the game, and you'd like to think they'll get a little, wink, wink, nod, nod. They'll know they're in the 11, so they will not be doing too much, certainly the day before, and perhaps even a little bit before, the 2 days before. Yep.
Okay, good point. Dav, we do see a lot of viewers not exactly happy with England's defeat. I mean, we all love a good game of cricket.
Yeah.
We like them to be the title holders, to be in contention for the top 4 spot. But looks like perhaps that is not to be after the match today.
No, they played badly. You have to be honest and say, I'm sure they would also agree and admit they just were way below, what's required, given their ability and their skill level. They just weren't up for the fight at all today, which is very, very sad, really, for the competition and for themselves and their supporters.
Yep. Okay. That's all we have for you on this edition of World of Cricket on WION. This is Isha Hanspal signing off with Dav Watmore with here in the studios. Tomorrow is another day, brand new game. Make sure you stay tuned with us for all the updates from that one as well. Bye.